Everyone. City of Lamarque, City Council Special Agenda of March 27, 2023. Notice 27, 2023, beginning at 6 p.m. Council chambers at 1109 B Bayou Road, Lamarque, Texas, as well as via video conference hosted through Zoom. In accordance with section 551.127B, the Texas Local Government Code, the presiding officer and the quorum of the Lamarque City Council intend to be and will physically be present at 1109 B Bayou Road, Lamarque, Texas. This location will be open to the public, and the meeting will be broadcast at this location on Channel 16 and via YouTube. The council will meet for the purpose of considering the following agenda. The meeting has been called to order. Kara, could you give us a roll call, please?
Councilmember District A. Present. Councilmember District B.
Present.
Councilmember District C.
Present.
Councilmember District D. Present. And Mayor.
Present. Let us stand for our invocation and our pledge. Most holy God, we certainly acknowledge your presence in our lives, and we thank you for this great city that we call home, for every member of this community, God. And we pray that you would help us as this council deliberate, Lord, in a way that would benefit them. We ask it all in your name. Amen.
Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tonight, we are honored to have two presentations honoring Women's History Month, as well as acknowledging and making and bringing awareness to Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And I am honored to have the senior council member from District D, one of her last official acts as council member, to read these proclamations and present these proclamations to these wonderful organizations. Councilwoman Casey McAuliffe.
All right, the first one is our proclamation for Women's History Month. A proclamation from the Office of the Mayor for the City of Lamarque. Whereas each March, Women's History Month is celebrated to honor the contributions women have made to society throughout history. And whereas these contributions can be found in every aspect of our lives, even in our own city, which was named by the postmistress, Madame St. Ambrose, in the 1890s. And whereas the national theme for Women's History Month 2023 is celebrating women who tell our stories. And whereas this year's theme honors women in every community who have devoted their lives and talents to producing art, pursuing truth, and reflecting the human condition decade after decade. And whereas women's history is one of resilience and is still being created today, locally, nationally, and globally. This month, we honor all women for their historical achievements, known and unknown. And now, therefore, we, the mayor and the city council, urge all citizens and businesses to join and hereby proclaim the month of March 2023 as Women's History Month in Lamarque, and encourage all citizens to join all of us in recognizing the month of March as Women's History Month. And in testimony whereof, witness the mayor's hand and the seal of the city of Lamarque this 14th day of March 2023. Woohoo! And this next one, we're very lucky to have Casa here. Can Casa come up? RCC. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. It's right in front. I'm sorry. I was just thinking in my head, Casa. Gosh, I'm sorry, y'all. RCC, Resource Crisis Center. Casa is also wonderful, and I'm sure you work together all the time. Let's try that again. RCC. It surely would be lovely if y'all would come up here.
Absolutely.
Forgive my blunder. What a goober.
Wow.
Okay. I have to hang out over here by the microphone. Forgive me. From the Office of the Mayor from the City of Lamarque, a proclamation, whereas nationally 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men will experience some form of sexual assault in their lifetime. And whereas Sexual Assault Awareness Month addresses the fact that sexual violence is widespread and has implications for our entire community. And whereas the national theme for Sexual Assault Awareness Month 2023 is Drawing Connections, Prevention Demands Equity. And whereas this year's theme addresses how systems of oppression such as racism, sexism, classism, heterosexism, ageism, and ableism contribute to higher sexual harassment, assault, and abuse rates, recognizing that it will take ending all forms of oppression to end sexual harassment, assault, and abuse. And whereas the city of Lamarque supports those who have been affected by this heinous abuse of power and encourages all citizens to engage in public and private endeavors to spread awareness of sexual assault and the many community resources available to survivors. And now, therefore, we, the mayor and the city council, urge all citizens and businesses to join and hereby proclaim the month of April 2023 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month in Lamarque to keep our community members safe from this crime and stand with survivors and victims of sexual assault. And in testimony whereof, witness the hand of the mayor and the seal of the city of Lamarque this 24th day of March, 2023. 27th day of March, 2023. Thank you so much, y'all. I think you should absolutely tell a quick story.
I just wanted to share a quick story that we had at RCC. We had a case where a partner agency brought in a young lady that had been kidnapped at a very young age. The kidnapper sex trafficked this child for a decade. She recently escaped at the age of 18, arrived at RCC traumatized and impregnated by one of her many rapists. She had been kidnapped and sex trafficked at such a young age that she did not even know how to read or write at the age of 18. Resource and Crisis Center embraced her and gave her shelter and the professional care she needed. RCC coordinated with law enforcement so that she could report these horrific crimes against a child, thus bravely taking down a sex trafficking ring. The great news is that she is back with her family after a decade. She is receiving continued outpatient care from our therapy and psychiatry department, all services which are free. This had a great outcome, and we have many more of these stories. It also gives me joy getting these criminal thugs off our streets and into prisons where they belong. Please know that the sex trade of prostitution and sex trafficking are intertwined. What we want to do is prevent the crime before it happens. So we are in schools, we are in churches, organizations, and we are teaching prevention. Our kids are being targeted on social media. So we can help grandparents, parents, and kids. We have age-appropriate training and evidence-based prevention training that we can help you with. So please call Resource and Crisis Center of Galveston County. My name is Cecily Henderson, the executive director. These are our crisis intervention specialists that go to the hospitals for forensic exams. And I think they had 70 call outs just to the hospitals for sexual assaults in our last fiscal year. Now, this doesn't include all of the outpatient people that we serve. We do have a shelter that is fully staffed and full of victims of 55, 40% of which are children. So we just want to prevent it before you get there. And we thank you all for your support. Thank you.
Very good, very good. I must say, I can't let Casey take all the blame for that blunder, because she specifically said to me, Mayor, is that Casa? I want to go put the shirt on. And I said, okay, go. So I inadvertently said that you all were Casa. I'm sorry.
But RCC is so wonderful. In my other hat as the ED for Galveston Zone Farmers Market, we've worked with RCC for a long time, and you guys do tremendous work. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. The irony of this is we are celebrating Women's History Month and proclaiming that at the same time we are also bringing continued awareness to sexual assault. And unfortunately, women and children bear the disproportionate brunt of that trauma and those types of unfortunate incidents. But thank you all for being here, and certainly we are with you as you move toward trying to help these young ladies and young families in our community. Thank you. Citizens' participation, limited to 3 minutes per person. Comments from the public will be heard at this time. Any person with city-related business who signed up to speak may speak to council, limited to 3 minutes. If wishing to speak, give the mayor or the presiding officer your full legal name, address, and the item you wish to speak about. In compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, the city may not deliberate on comments. Personal attacks will not be allowed, and personnel matters should be addressed to the city manager during normal business hours. Press *6 if you are visiting with us by phone to unmute yourselves. If you are attending via Zoom, you can, on your smartphone, tablet, or computer, press the microphone icon on your screen to mute and unmute yourself. If you are here in person, you may approach the podium to my left and to your right. Give me your name, address, and you will be heard. Kyle, are there any persons online wishing to speak? We move now to persons that are physically present. Rashard Loftus. Welcome, Mr. Loftus, as always, name and address.
Good evening. Rashard Loftus, 309 Johnson Street. A while back, we had a discussion about street signs, and we had this discussion with the KLMBC Commission. So I just want to put it on council's mind, and I also talked to Rick and city manager about it, to possibly start working on changing out some of these street signs. As I stated before, that green is really outdated. A lot of our signs are faded, missing, and it's just time to bring a new change to our street signs with our logo on it. A lot of other cities have done it. Hitchcock has done it, and we need to follow suit. And KLMBC is prepared to spend some of our funds to help start that process with working with the major intersections, and then working toward the smaller, inside of the community with, changing out the street signs. Our stop signs, like I said, some of these signs are just really outdated and faded. It goes to perhaps a traffic safety hazard when the sign is faded. Some of the 4-ways, 2-way, 3-way signs aren't even there. And I know it costs money. So we have to, perhaps make sure that coming up next budget season, put that into play. I know we can't do it all at one time, but we have to get to a starting point, because we've talked about it before, and we can't just keep talking about it. That's part of the beautification of the city as well. So hopefully, council can take that into consideration. The second thing I want to mention is these trash cans that people continually leave on the side of the road for forever. And it's disgusting. Over in the subdivisions, they have rules and regulations that they follow, and it don't happen over there. But in District A, C, D, it's happening every day. You have to go around the trash cans, and I know particularly in my neighborhood, 2 or 3 streets, they never take them off the road. They're there every day. And so if there's no ordinance against these people not taking their trash cans off the side of the road, then council, you all need to put something in place that code can start, finding folks, or at least giving warnings, because I'm under the impression that right now there's nothing that can be done about it. So
Finish your sentence, Mr. Loftus.
let's work toward that. Like I said, if there's no ordinance, let's put one in place to where we can regulate these trash cans and get them off the side of the road.
Thanks, sir.
All right.
Move now to item 6, resolutions. Unless otherwise specified the city manager is authorized to execute all necessary documents upon the final approval by the city attorney. 6.1, resolution number letter R -2023-0021. Approving a change order in the amount of $88,993.21 from Lucas Construction for additional work for the 2022 Galveston County partially funded City of Lamar various road project. Rick, did you want to explain or Cedar?
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. So this item is most likely the last change order, should be the last change order on the street project. There are items that's included with your packet as far as particular items that are getting done. I'm happy to report we did add a street. We're doing Walker Road from Kirby down to Prairie, which has been, it was originally on the original list and got scratched early on. So that is almost a $90,000 road improvement that we're doing. Stop bars on Bayou, curbs on Bayou. If you notice, some of the curbs are getting done on Bayou. All the curbs and gutter will get replaced on Bayou. We've got a 6-inch curb and gutter on Goliad that's added in there. You'll see that small amount of money. The bicycle sharrows got added on Bayou. So that is the city's first attempt at putting some recognition of bicycles in the city. We'll follow those up with signs. The sharrows are not a dedicated bike lane. I gave you some information in your packet on sharrows. They're used in certain applications. It gives us an opportunity to at least share the road with bicyclists, which is legal anyway, but it's just identifiers on the roadway to try to get the information out about alternative forms of transportation. We have the Bayou project included in the TA TxDOT project as far as connecting to TxDOT roadways, Main Street and 1765, having those bike lane sharrows, I believe will help us also. Be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions for Rick?
I do have some questions. This change order, how soon are we near to completing all the roads that were included in the 2017 bond election?
All the roads have been done.
All roads have been done?
Yes, sir.
And so this is additional work that was identified. I think city manager, you mentioned to me about striping, the bike lanes, other
Yes, sir.
little things associated.
The stop bars on Bayou, for some reason on the cross streets, were not included in the project. I don't know why. So we wanted those stop bars in. So that's in here. The bike sharrows are in here. As you notice, there were some deducts also from the contractor on some items and materials that was not used in the project. So that helped us keep within our budget.
And as I recall from our economic development director, even with these particular change orders, the final cost associated came in below the anticipated, or came in below the bond amounts, as well as the contribution of the city of Lamar.
Correct. 997, 215.
Right.
We got it pretty tight.
Almost there, almost right at the $1 million mark.
And one last thing to remember, I am now the HVAC, the Houston Galveston Area Council member to the Transportation Advisory Committee. And we are in the process, as part of this, I attended the orientation here recently after our last board meeting, as I mentioned. And the transportation improvement plan that's just now started here, 2023 to 2026, it incorporates suggestions from cities on bike paths, other ways to facilitate movement around your city, work collaboratively with our area communities as well in this effort. I know over on the west side, I specifically, I think, mentioned to you, Mr. City Manager, the idea that has been previously suggested, Mayor, you remember this, about if and when, I should say if, but when the facility is completed, Jerome's facility is completed out at the dog track, our traffic patterns there need to improve, and the flow possibility of a road from Margot Lar, I'll be pushing for that. I know that I have this particular forum to do that and find the financing for that as well.
Any other questions?
Would you talk just a little bit more about the Sharrows? Because I actually was really excited to have that you attached that article because I've seen them. I've never really understood what that symbol means on the road. You know, I've seen them in Galveston and other places, and I've always been like, is that a bike lane? Is it not a bike lane? Now I understand. But it does seem like one of the biggest issues with them is being confused about what they are. And I wondered if there was, first off, I missed again where you said they are or where they will be.
On Bayou, both
Just-
directions, all the way from 1765 to Main Street.
Okay.
That's the first location we're working on.
Okay. I was wondering if there is a chance there might be if we might have a chance to install some signage somewhere that just helps to convey like, what is this?
We
Like,
will follow up with signage. It's not part of this project.
Okay.
Meet with the Public Works, we'll follow up with signage along the route,
Mhm.
saying shared bike pathway. is
Okay,
what the sign
awesome.
Says. So without a dedicated bike lane, the Sharrows actually just identifies that the roadway is shared with bicyclists.
yeah, yeah.
And so there's not a dedicated lane that cars cannot travel in, for instance.
Mhm.
typically.
Okay.
Also,
Okay.
the hope is to have these done before May. May is pedestrian and bicycle safety month. At that time, the idea is to come out with a campaign that we're working with our PIO to educate folks on that situation. Hopefully we can have this done by then, so we can roll that out as part of that first phase of that initiative.
Cool. Thanks.
Also, we probably need to add PD into that discussion as well, so that we can understand how to legally coexist. Get some information from the police department, what would be a violation, what wouldn't be. Since this is all new, I'm just excited, and I think that we should Caesar find a way to communicate to all those wonderful people on Walker Street that there is help on the way. I get calls about Walker Street monthly about the condition of the roads. And so if we could share that good news with them, that'd be awesome.
We could organize the groundbreaking out there for the
With the shovels,
We
right?
didn't get- but we could do the last one.
Good
We'll
deal,
definitely
good
Make sure
deal,
that we put something together.
good deal, good deal. Any other questions? I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? 6.2, resolution number letter R-2023-0022, approving issuance of a purchase order to Axis Construction to install a tank mixer in the Gulf Greyhound elevator storage tank at the cost of $24,270. Rick.
So this item, tank mixers are a huge advantage for operations like ourselves. Unfortunately, we do not have the ability to move water levels in our tanks. So the tank levels that we run at produce pressure in the city of Lamarque. It's a direct correlation. We maintain those tank levels pretty high regularly, and we do not drop them to refill them like a lot of city operations do, because it would lower pressure in the city. We can't really lower the tank volumes and refill them. So the water that sits in the tanks is somewhat stagnation, and it causes problems with how we chlorinate our water because we use chlorine and ammonia. So some of this gets a little technical. The mixers will improve that water quality in these tanks. And we're only putting it in the one right now. We'll come back to you at a later date to talk about adding mixers in Stonewall and Kirby. But right now, the Greyhound tank, which is actually changing the name to 2004 because the Greyhound Park's kind of going away, but that's another story. We'd like to get this mixer in. As you know, the tank's done. We'll be filling this tank shortly. The painting's done. The next part is to get water in it, get it disinfected, and run bacteriological analysis. Engineering checked this particular mixer out. They like what they saw. They're recommending to put this particular mixer in that tank. We do have comparative price, but the contractor that we're buying it from is on buy board. So it's a good price on a mixer. electrical work that'll need to be done on an outside situation is $2,000 to $3,000. So the total cost is a little under 30,000, but the mixer itself is at 24,270 that's on there.
Any questions?
Yes.
Go ahead, Michael.
So if I'm understanding this right, this little mixer will mix the water inside.
Yes, sir.
Would it be cheaper to get a recirculating valve?
No, the cost on these mixers is extremely small. You'd be surprised how small of a motor the power it takes to run these mixers. This is not a big propeller type mixer unit. These units are very small. They sit inside that tank, and because of the motive motion they're able to make with that water, it continuously slowly stirs that water in that tank. So there's no pumping. We don't need extra pump power to move water around. These mixers run very economically.
Okay. Thank you.
But
Rick, and this is just to refresh everybody's memory, this particular tank was the one that we received in effect, a slap on the wrist
yes, sir.
from TCEQ, Texas Water Quality Board. And it was necessary to make not only the improvements, which is repainting the whole
Yes, sir.
tank, and that was the issue. What's the useful life is my question. After all of this, and we have a new tank, for purposes of planning, what's the useful life? Assuming that we maintain the tank on this water tank.
You know, tanks, what I've always gone by is normally 70 to 80 years. I mean, you'd be surprised. I mean, it's a piece of steel. As long as you take care of it, you paint it. Typically, we need to go in and paint a tank about every 20 to 25 years. So we've got to come back in and do this work again. And if you take care of the steel, it's kind of like a ship, right?
Yeah.
Take care of it, keep it painted. That steel will hold up for many, many years.
And when you say the painting, that occurs on the inside?
We painted the inside of this tank and the outside. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
And refresh our memories again. What was the cost associated with that?
It was 640, what did I say?
640,000.
650. Mhm.
Once again, for budgeting for
Right.
our future planning.
Right.
I think that's
It's
crucial.
much cheaper to maintain them than it is to build new.
And to build it, definitely.
And the next one we have in
Absolutely.
line is Kirby. The next one that needs repair, or is it Stonewall?
Actually, Stonewall, something next on the list. Yes, sir.
We are forecasting that and being prepared for it.
When would that be done? Stonewall?
Oh, well, we need to finish this one first. We don't have it in our scope yet. We don't have a timeline as to when.
Stonewall's in the 5-year. Yes, sir. 5-year. It's in, I mean, and we track large maintenance items like Stonewall somewhat through the capital improvement project program, but it's not really a capital improvement. It's really a maintenance project, but it's a lot of money.
Right, because they're.
Stonewall will still be $500,000 or more.
Wow.
It's not quite the size of this particular tank, but it'll still cost some money.
Because there are residents that are really complaining about that tank on Stonewall.
So the issue at Stonewall, what the residents are complaining about is a different story that I can go into here shortly. There are a few facilities here in the city that needs to be dismantled. Okay, so the Stonewall ground storage tank is an eyesore. It needs to come down. So does the Bayou ground storage tank up the road here.
Okay.
It is also an eyesore. And those tanks are not being used anymore.
Oh,
They haven't been used in years. The wells, there used to be a well at Stonewall, the well either caved in or it deteriorated, I guess, probably another word I can't think of right now to tell you, but we're not using the well at Stonewall or the Bayou well up here. So the Bayou well facility that's up here by the police station, it also needs to be capped and plugged, and that whole fence community and the Bayou tank across the street needs to all come down. So there's an expense to doing demolition work, which we seriously need to take a look at in our budgets.
Let's be clear, and Caesar, let me, so that I can kind of help Kim get this out to her residents, our residents. You're saying the storage tank on Jackson Street is not only an eyesore, but we're not using, Stonewall, I'm sorry, is not only an eyesore, but we're not using it.
No, sir. It's not, it's not
That-
used.
The big, hold on.
The elevated
Big
storage
tank,
tank we
elevated,
use,
okay.
but not the
but
ground
the
storage
small,
tank,
more well.
which is the
Right.
eyesore.
So we are using the big
Big
elevator,
one,
Yes,
but the ground one, we're not using.
And those are the ones we need to limit.
And I believe that's the one you're getting the complaints on, I'm
Right.
sure.
And that's the one you're saying we're gonna do what with?
That's the ones we're planning to bring back to budget to eliminate that one.
Take it out.
And also the one on Bayou.
So it's gonna be gone. I just wanna
Assuming we get
be-
it approved.
I want to
Yes,
be
sir.
clear so that she can
Yes.
communicate that to,
Yes.
right,
The
exactly.
intent is for us to present it in a way that hopefully.
We're gonna try to get rid of it. Very
Yes.
good.
Both-
We need to
both
keep
places.
the elevated tank.
Cool. Good deal.
Let me interject.
Go ahead, John.
And if I recall, and Ms. Yancey, I think you were at that particular municipal league conference. The GLO has funding to, and I mentioned it to you, Mr. City Manager, has funding to eliminate basically old structures like that. And so I would ask that you maintain a relationship with them and see if we can find some funding.
We are strongly encouraging that through some of our operations. And
You stand
them
through
and
the
any
GLO,
other
not the Water Development Board?
Both of
Both
them collectively working jointly. Texas TCQ with GLO. That's what I found unique when I spoke, because we were talking about the what is it, the super
fun sites.
super fun site over toward Galveston. And that's when I still have the material if you want me to get it to you guys.
Any further discussion? All right, we will then entertain a motion.
Yes, sir. So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 7, City Manager's Report. A submitted report to update the council and the community on the standard of operations of the city. A report can be acknowledged as a whole or discussed at the pleasure of council. Did you want to give us a synopsis of your report?
Absolutely, sir. This flagship grant was an application through AARP, kind of tied to 6-1 in the sense that we were applying for more of those sharrows, but in this case, to be put on the cross street being Cedar. And the idea is to bring them all the way from 45 all the way to Texas Ave as part of this project. So that's the hopes. It's ultra competitive, where we're hoping that we could qualify, but that's the intent.
Cool.
So we can add to probably the second most pedestrian traveled
You
street
said
that we have.
Cedar,
On Cedar. Mhm.
45.
Right, but actually not, I take that back
Highway 3.
because the one lane doesn't allow 45. We said Lake, from Lake to Texas Ave, because that's where it separates into.
Lake, no, it can't be. Lake and Texas Avenue, they cross each other.
My street's wrong. The corner of Cedar and Lake is where it goes into four lanes, 2 and 2.
Right.
And that flows all the way through.
Highway 3.
Right.
Okay, so it's the
I
corner of
said
Cedar and
wrong.
Lake, and then it's gonna move to Highway 3.
Correct.
Cool,
Cedar, yeah.
good deal.
Curb and gutter. It's tough to do bike lanes. It's
Very difficult and unsafely to try to do any type of bike lanes when there's not curb and gutter streets.
Yeah.
So mainly what we're looking at is curb and gutter streets and Cedar's curb and gutter from Lake all the way to 3. Back on the other side of there, there's some sidewalks, but there's really no curb. There's some, what they call slotted curbs that's installed. But it's not the same as a true curb and gutter style street like Bayou and like Cedar down here.
Yeah. That's a great point.
You just need more room.
You need curb and gutter.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that. Any questions about this application?
No,
As always, if we are approved, then the council will have to approve and accept. So this is simply a first step. Let's move now to item 8, new business. And I believe this is why we're all here. No, maybe not yet. New business, item 1, items for the good of the order. Additional items to bring awareness to council and the community, as well as future agenda item requests are accepted at this time. And so because we're going into executive session, council, this is our time to request from the city manager or make announcements or acknowledgements to the community. So who wants to go first? I think, you want to go, Jim?
I'll go ahead.
All right, go, Joe.
I'm not shy. Update, one thing, it's been a particularly busy week, last week, the weekend. And I don't see Chief Merriman here, but with the change in the weather, we've gotten warmer weather. People are turning on their air conditioner. Some of this is happening in mobile homes, and we're seeing an increase in the number of fires. When a mobile home catches fire, it burns to the ground. You don't have. We had a couple of injuries as a result of that in some of these fires. So I'm asking people to be aware of that before you turn on your AC in whatever home you have. Just take a quick look. And outside units, what we've seen, especially kind of areas where there's woods, we've got sometimes different little animals that will build nests inside the unit where the fan is at, and that will also cause problems and fires to break out. So I just asked that. Also, and this just happened early Sunday morning at about 1 o'clock in the morning, apartment fire in League City caused by what? Candles. The candles are back together. And a young child with the candles on, and the fire started, causing 8 families to be lose their whole home. And more particularly, these units were 3-bedroom apartments. And 3-bedroom apartments, those of you that don't know this county, those are a premium in terms of apartment complexes. So that whole section across from Clear Creek High School was lost, and on that side. So I just have to be aware of that. Second thing is, as I was mentioning, a pickup mayor, being a member of the Transportation Advisory Committee, just so we know, this committee is consists of, it's back over here, consists of 18 individuals. And I'm one of those 18. And it provides, through the Metropolitan Planning Organization, these transportation areas or projects for an 8-county area of Brazoria, Fort Bend, Waller, Montgomery, Liberty, Chambers, Galveston, and Harris County. Now, what's significant? If you look at all the projects, and I was looking over at my orientations, almost 90% of the projects, and we're talking about millions of dollars, or go to where? Harris County. Harris County. We have to change, and I'm committed to changing that dynamic on behalf of the smaller cities, on behalf of smaller communities, and making them aware, especially at this time period, looking for projects for the transportation improvement program for the 2023 and 2026. So ideas are welcome on that side. And that's all, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Who feels led to go next? Who has the spirit?
Oh, no.
I'll
go.
Well,
Mine's
look at
pretty
Michael.
easy. Want to thank the Lamarck Fire Department. If you didn't know, they were out and about doing a lot of community service and going places this weekend. So appreciate all their hard work, making the citizens know what they're paying for. So I appreciate that. Police Department, I know you guys are out and about. You're the unsung heroes. So thank you for all your hard work too. And the officer that received the award recently, my appreciation for her and the work that she did to achieve that award. That's all I have, sir.
That was efficient, Michael. Did y'all see that? Ladies?
I don't have a whole lot. I am looking forward to all the good work we're going to do for the rest of my term. And I'm looking forward to April. It's always filled with lots of good stuff. And I'll just say what I always say because it's the thing that's the most on my mind every time, which is thank you to staff and everyone who puts together our agendas and makes sure we're prepared and keeps the city running. Thank you very much.
Okay, for the good of the order, this is an amazing season. We're going into Passover and Holy Week, and there's a lot of activities happening in District A and District D as well. Saturday, April 8th, from 11 to 1 at 3701 Texas Avenue, 765. They're having an Easter egg hunt. It's the Anchorage Real Estate Company there on the corner near CBS. And then Redeeming Ministry is having an Easter egg hunt as well. The Big A Crawfish is this Saturday in Galveston County. I think they moved it from the Marque Island. So that's happening for those crawfish lovers like myself. That's this Saturday. And I believe that is all I have today for the upcoming activities for the next 2 to 3 weeks. And thank you. And I know you've been sick. Thank you for working through your sickness, and we see the progress. Thank you so much for what
Thank
you
you.
and your staff have been doing.
Thank you, ma'am.
Kim,
Mm.
did you say Anchorage, what real estate company?
Anchorage Real Estate.
And what day was that?
April 8th, Saturday,
What time?
from 11 to 1. And then Redeeming Ministries, they're having an event as well. April 8th, it starts at 11, it's 2, so those 2 events.
Redeeming Ministries,
Community.
they'll start at what time?
11 o'clock.
Redeeming Ministries,
Mhm,
at 11?
At 11.
And what time does Anchorage start?
11.
Oh,
same
okay,
time,
both,
yeah.
okay, cool.
Mhm.
All right, thank you.
This is the other thing too, real fast, the Meals on Wheels program, we are trying to, when I talked to them before, they were saying that they only had about 80 people signed up. And we know that in Lamarck, we have an elderly population of a large one. And so whatever we can do to help make sure that our elderly population, that they're eating on the regular. So we're working in District A to try to help them connect with our residents who may need food. So please help if you know anyone that needs food.
Very good.
Mhm.
I just wanted to honor the pain and the trauma and the associated effects of victims of sexual assault. Does not end at the point of sexual assault. It begins there. And it can be, and more times than not, it is pervasive throughout the entire lives of those victims, as well as those that love those victims. It's a horrible, horrible, horrible ordeal that changes people fundamentally forever. And so I honor CASA and the RCC and for the work that they are attempting to do, the noble work, the valuable work, the saintly work that is needed so desperately in that area of our community. And I can't say enough about the work that they've done. I can't say enough about the plight of those individuals that have suffered through those horrible, horrible, horrible experiences. Thank God for definitely those organizations that are committed to helping move people through as best as we can those ordeals in life. Also, I want to honor the success of women in general, but in particular in our country and in our society and in our community and even on our dais. We have definitely, let's see, 1, 2, 3 extremely successful women on this dais tonight. And I'm glad to share this space with all 3 of them. And they're all talented in their own individual ways. And I've learned from all of them in some form or another. But then we also extend that to some great department heads in this city. Susie Koo and Amy Miller. And I'm not trying to forget people, y'all. Kathleen Van Steveren and Judge Carrie Pettijohn, Rosemary Bell. I'm running out of names here. Venetia Henderson. Many of our department heads, many of our departments are led by women. And we certainly know that those departments are just as effective. We knew that, if not more effective. We knew that as well as any other department. And so we want to acknowledge those those women serving within our government and those women leading within our community. Thank you again for all of your work. I wanted Caesar to remind you that next meeting, I believe the council will be expecting a loose process to review and shape for Lamarck 2050. Just loose, just kind of give us some ideas so we can start adding to it and shaping it so that we can get ready to move with this immediately after this next municipal election. And I want to work with you to schedule some time, perhaps even after the good folks in our coffee club, maybe a couple times a week, maybe at 10:30-ish, to be able to invite our citizens out to have coffee with myself and with any other council member that would like to attend, obviously one at a time. Maybe we have different Fridays that they would come, but we want to have coffee. I want to have coffee with members of our community as much as I can, and I'm sure the council does as well. Would you mind, Coffee Club, if we came in at 10:30? They're looking at us like. Excuse me. The new title to this wonderful organization is Coffee with Friends. It used to be the Coffee Club, and the women showed up and began to lead. That was the other department that. And so now it's Coffee with Friends. Any citizen of this city can come out and have coffee every Friday, starting about 8 o'clock to about 10 o'clock, to talk about many of the issues. I make as many as I can. Michael Carlson makes many more than myself, and he represents our council there. He listens to all of the wonderful things that they have to say about us, and he reports back. But definitely we want to make that available to our public. And so we'll work together, Caesar, to see if we can try to get something organized with the council. If there's nothing further, thank you for your attendance tonight. We are moving now into executive session. There are perhaps upcoming events, so we'll give the floor to Mr. Garcia.
Just want to quickly note, one of the items that we will be quickly announcing, we just received finalization earlier, right before this meeting, partnering with the Salvation Army for a small food giveaway, about 150 boxes, hopefully. They're getting the details to us. It'll be as soon as this Saturday at 10 a.m. As soon as the details are finalized, we will share with everybody. But they approached us confirming early afternoon as far as quantity, and then all the items as far as 10 a.m. at the library. We'll do it on this Saturday. So I'll share that with everybody as soon as possible. Also wanted to bring to light that the Daily News press run is quickly approaching. If anybody would like to participate, they being that we obviously are in their region, they've invited us this year. It is not going to be on the island anymore. It will be not too far from us here at Bay Street Park over in Texas City. Rainbow Park. I'm sorry, excuse me. I apologize. Rainbow Park. Yeah. Okay. That has been changed. Okay, thank you. And that's all I have for upcoming community events in the immediate future.
In addition, they're calling it, Caesar, Press Run 2.0 because it's going to it's still going to be in Galveston, but this is also going to be an additional one.
Thank you.
And this press run benefits the proceeds benefit the children of Texas Independent School District.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
And so,
And revolving around literacy.
right. Absolutely. So that's going to be a great event. If there's nothing further, I think we'll move now past the upcoming events to item 9, executive session. The City Council for the city of Lamarque, Texas, reserves the right to adjourn into executive session at any time during this meeting to discuss matters listed above as authorized by the Texas Government Code, Section 551.071, consultation with attorney, 551.072, deliberations about real property, 551.073, deliberations about gifts and donations, 551.074, personnel matters, 551.076, deliberations about security devices, and 551.087, economic development. For the purposes of tonight's executive session, we will excuse me, we will recess for purposes of section 551.074 personnel matters, deliberate on the evaluation, duties, and discipline of a public officer or city or employee, and this will be the city manager. As well as section 551.074 personnel matters, deliberate on the evaluation, the duties, discipline of a public officer or employee, and this will be the municipal court judge. This change tonight will be that we will begin with the municipal court judge. And we will end with the city manager. And so we are in recess at what time, Kara?
6:54.
6:54, we stand in recess. We have returned from recess and executive session at
9:29.
9:29 PM. We will take item 10, actions to be taken from executive session, 10-1, section 551.074, personnel matters. Deliberate on the evaluation duties and discipline of a public officer or employee, the city manager. I will entertain a motion.
The Mayor, all I would request, and I don't know if this is in the form of a motion or request to be put in a further agenda, but I would like to have a discussion by the council with regard to the city manager's authorization to use the city vehicle to attend any and all city-related business.
Okay.
Or permit it, give him that authority now.
Okay.
By way of a motion.
Okay. And so you have been heard. Are you trying to formulate a motion to that effect? Or are
Actually,
you asking for this to be on an upcoming agenda?
I'm going to defer to legal counsel if we have to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be best to defer, since you're providing that separate authorization, it'd be best to defer that to the April 10th agenda.
Okay, all right, very good.
So are there any other motions? Sounds like there will be no action on 10-1. Let's move to 10-2. Section 551.074, personnel matters, deliberate on the evaluation duties and discipline of a public officer or employee, municipal judge. I will entertain a motion.
I move that we give the city manager direction to spearhead the convening of the following groups: our city legal staff, our city manager office, the PD and court staff, with the aim of coming together to formulate policies and procedures for our municipal court, SOPs from top to bottom.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Here none, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 11, adjournment. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mayor,
I'm
could-
sorry, go
just
ahead.
one quick item, if I could just express a, received a text. Some people, I wasn't aware of it, but a long time Keep Marque Beautiful volunteer and a member of our community, Kathy Keith, her husband, Ben Keith, over the weekend, had a health event.
Oh,
And she was sending this message. She just wants to thank Lamarque Fire and EMS for assessing the situation correctly and saving my husband's life. I thought my husband was having a stroke, which would have been a very different treatment. Lamarque Fire Department knew it was a traumatic neurological event and got him safely to the trauma center at UTMB. Their fast and accurate treatment made all the difference. And she says, I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
very good, very
And we
good.
wish him speedy recovery.
And we'll be praying for Kathy and her husband.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We definitely echo those comments, Ms. Keith, wherever you are, and Mr. Keith, we certainly wish you well and a speedy recovery. I'll,
Move to adjourn.
is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We stand adjourned.